good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell,
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
This week, 77% street debate.
Slavery left a deep wound in all of us. And when you see us coming, it's because we're trying to heal that wound that was placed.
I try to understand why I am here. I want to leave.
And
you are coming back. You want to stay.
You want to go out. You want to take your kids to the park to play. But when you do, other kids spit at them.
Their presence is actually creating a problem for us economically.
I'm kind of nervous for this.
Hello and welcome back to the
big.
77% Street Debate. This week we are back in Ghana's capital of Accra. Now, 400 years ago, the first women, men and children forcibly stolen from this continent arrived on the other side of the Atlantic in America. Fast forward many years later, and the government, the modern government of Ghana, is saying to its international descendants, come back home. But what does that integration look like? Began in 2019, dubbed the Year of Return, this initiative has introduced many people from across the world back into the community. And how is that affecting the makeup of the society? Who better to answer that question than some now all Ghanaians? And I want to start with you, Professor Kambon, because I think in order to understand where we are, we must look back in time. How did we end up in this situation where Africans were disjointed and disconnected from their land?
I have what I call the thousands, hundreds, and tens model. And what that is that thousands of years ago, black people went out to populate the entire planet Earth. And then hundreds of years ago, black people were enslaved. This goes back all the way to the Arabs, you know, the Indian Ocean and so forth. You had the Sand Rebellion. And then tens of years ago, you have what is often referred to as the brain drain, where, you know, those are going out to seek greener pastures. And usually it's because their own homes have been set on fire by, you know, IMF, World Bank policies and so forth and so on. Many of us came to the conclusion of why do we continue to build the land of our enemies? Before we were doing it, you know, at gunpoint, you know, at the point of the whip and so forth. But there's a proverb that says a cow grazes where it is tied. But if we're not cows, then it means we don't have to continue grazing in places when, you know, we are no longer tied there. So for some of us, we decided to repatriate. So for me, I have repatriated to Ghana, and several of my repatriate to Ghana clients have gotten citizenship.
All right, let's talk about your repatriation for a little bit. 2008 is when you decided to move back to Ghana. What inspired this?
Specifically in 2008, I went through what a lot of black people go through, which is a trumped up charge, racism and so forth. They don't ask you, are you a, you know, citizen who's benefiting the community and so forth. They just say, all right, because you're black, or really it's because they're white, right, that they behave in that way. So I decided that I was coming here to do my PhD. I did so. I'm doing pretty well. I've been installed as a traditional ruler. So this was given to me by the Nsumankwa. He is the overall spiritual head of all of the Asante people. It's about being accepted. It's about being respected. And those are things that you don't get under Donald Trump and the divided snakes are a murderer.
Wow, those are some very strong words that you've chosen to use. And I want to come to the Bradbys here, who are a couple. And, oh gosh, the couples here are always holding hands. It's so cute. But they've also just joined a union, a lifelong union with Ghana. You got your citizenship yesterday. And there's something that the professor said here, to be removed from the land of your enemy. Is this how you considered America, where you actually grew up?
We moved for our safety and our children's safety. It is unsafe in the States, no matter where you go if you look like us. Getting out of the land of our enemy was priority number one, to make sure that no matter what we did to build a business or to simply just live the simple life, we will be protected in that.
Nakia, is this also what you think, land of the enemy? Is this what Baltimore was to you?
For example, in Baltimore, we have the highest, like a very strong crime rate in my city. And I think that is due to the fact that people are completely lost. And so all of that anger and aggression gets pushed out onto the streets, and then we're suffering. For me, even I think back when I was in school and doing university, I remember I used to go on my phone and try to find like an app to look at, to listen to radio stations in Accra, just to hear the language. And I remember one night I was just sitting there like, I almost just cried. just to not like to know that like this was taken from me.
You're shaking now as you have goosebumps everywhere.
Because my great great grandmothers, these are the songs that they would sing, these are the language that they would use, and we don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
And it's even hard to explain like how that stealing of our identity impacts our hearts. And so when you see us celebrating, when you see us happy to be in Ghana, even though we know the conditions aren't great here, the economy is not great, but slavery left a deep wound in all of us. It left a deep wound. And when you see us coming, it's because we're trying to heal that wound that was placed.
Thank you so much for being so honest and vulnerable with us.
Yes. You should remind me of me when we first started reacting to African content. Because when we first started reacting to African content, of course, we didn't know a lot of things. We didn't know the pronunciations. We didn't know a lot of the people groups. And so people would just write these long paragraphs of we should know this. How?
No way.
So us connecting over the internet with Africans for the very first time, because where we're from in Louisiana, yes, there may be like maybe one or maybe three Africans living in Louisiana.
They were quiet at one point in a period of time. I feel like now they're more open.
They are.
But back then I feel like it was quiet.
Right, and it's not like Texas where you see a lot of Africans. In Louisiana, we don't see that. So we didn't have that interaction. Our first interaction with a lot of Africans was through YouTube, through the comment section, and everybody just seemed to welcome us. And at one point, it was overwhelming because I'm like, oh my God, that's what y'all used to see of us. That's what y'all thought of us.
That part,
you remember that video where they showed what they saw and what we saw? And listen, the whole thing is just love for us. And yes, we are on the continent now. And our next trip will be to Ghana. It won't be 2 years. It will not take us 2 years to get to Ghana. It's going to be much sooner than that. But I'm really ready for that ancestral journey. Like this trip right here wasn't really an ancestral journey. It was a diasporic connection.
Correct.
Right? But that is going to be, I know I'm going to ball my eyes out.
Who don't? I mean, there's a lot of great stories from a lot of people who have been there, and they have these spiritual awakenings that they come across. You know what I'm saying? It's really interesting to know about. Yeah. But I'm just fascinated about a lot of these comments that I'm getting ready to hear and already heard. So I'm just ready to dive that.
Yeah,
back
she
into,
spoke for a lot of us.
Yeah, she talking now. Yes, sir.
Yes, I appreciate that. Let me speak to Mr. Kwesi here, who is the CEO of the Tourism Board, which is behind this initiative. There's a lot of pain and trauma and fear that a lot of people are escaping coming into this country. But was this your idea when you launched this initiative?
Yes and no. Yes, we knew that we had to make the connection because we've been separated for far too long and we didn't understand each other. And so, yes, the idea was let's reconnect, let's bring us together and see how we can work together, cultural exchanges, tourism, investments, and everything that makes us one people. Okay. But no, because we realize that it goes deeper than just a reconnection. It also for people to come and heal, really. People trace their roots, come back to where it all began.
Okay, so you were told come back to Africa. Here you are. I want to now know, what have your experiences been? The reality versus what you might have expected. Nakia, earlier you said that the state of the economy is not great, and yet here you are. Why?
I think where Africa beats America in development is social development. In terms of how people are raised here and having respect for your elders. I struggled a lot with my mother. My mother passed about 2 years ago. I actually was taking care of her for 5 years by myself because I couldn't get my family to understand that we as a family should take care of my mother together. But here in Ghana, you don't have that problem. You don't even really see nursing homes because the people understand that when your parents get older, you should take care of them. And so these are the things that I feel like that are really important for us to really focus on and see that there's a lot that the Ghanaian heart has to offer and that we also should take hold of and to integrate and understand our place in the society. Yeah,
she's going down the angle of just like the whole scope of family being able to benefit off of one another. And the main thing is leaving a legacy. Because when you have that, then you won't have to worry about moms, grandfather being in the nursing home. You don't have to worry about land being taken or not having land. You won't have to worry about housing. You won't have to worry about education, right? You won't have to worry about a village because once you have all of these things attached, the mindset grows to a more intellectual understanding of who we are as people and how we can benefit one another instead of fight one another and find crazy reasons to not support one another. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always something in the system that will make you lean towards leaning on the government instead of going towards your family and saying, hey, I need you.
Right.
And you know, they actually being there to help you. Right. So I feel like that's the angle she was going down when she was like trying to get her family to see we can take care of mama.
Right.
We don't have to worry about no one else. We can do it, you know?
You know what I think? We used to be a people like that.
Oh yeah, I remember
all
that.
across the United States. We used to be a people like that. But I think what changed that in the African American community is classism and social services. Social services got it. Oh, I said church.
Yeah, I hear you though.
Social services have it. I don't have to take care of grandma. I don't have to take care of mama, daddy.
That check
brother.
coming in.
They got it. I can go live my life.
Yep.
And also, joining the military was one of the first avenues for us to get out of where we were. Yeah. Right? But
it was a promised ticket actually. Right. It's like if you join, then you'll be able to do this. But a lot of veterans and even till today towards history, they would suffer from the lack of.
Yeah, but some people, when they went that way, they left people behind.
Because they would remarry out the country.
Remarry out the country or move to another part of the country.
To another part of the country.
Being in close proximity to other people.
Yep.
Forgetting your ways, changing up your talk, your speech, all that. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic.
But I do feel but that's correct though, because I feel like that's the railroad track of that conversation. That's the way she's going down with it. That's how I heard it.
Yeah, definitely.
So Adam and Chiretta, you're raising two beautiful children here. How has that experience been for you, and what are some of the challenges of integrating so far?
Oh, it's really been beautiful. In the States, we lived a very isolated lifestyle because of safety. You want to go out, you want to take your kids to the park to play, but when you do, other kids spit at them. That is an experience that my son had at the playground on more than one occasion. And so we lived a very isolated life. So to be here and to be free and to see my kids be able to be joyful and that not be a crime has been a very, very beautiful thing.
Okay, I really love how beautiful this is sounding, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of pepe in here. Kojo, tell me, are the people who've returned romanticizing the idea of Africa a little bit?
Maybe a little bit.
Tell me about that.
Well, the truth is, we're survivors here in Ghana. And the reason why it may look like it's like we want to switch places with them is because of that doggedness that the country has built inside of us. You've gone through the educational system. You've put together yourself to be on top of society, but then there's no opportunity for you to use them and put yourself in a better place in the society.
So let me ask that question, because you did talk about immigration and emigration, and actually surprisingly, Ghana is one of those few countries in Africa where there are more people leaving the country than there are coming in, and that surprised me. So I want to know from the people at the back, anybody, if you got a chance, are you taking the plane to get out of Ghana? Let me see by show of hands if your answer is yes.
Oh, snap.
No, this is very important though, because some people only may hear the good parts of traveling to these different places, right?
Right.
And it's responsible to know everything that there is to know, especially if you're going to be moving.
Yeah.
When you hear these people come and say, hey, this is a beautiful country, we need to reinvest back on the continent, how does that make you feel?
I feel it's because they have money. That's why they are coming back home. But for me, I want to leave the country because the economy here is very bad.
Let me hear one more person at the back.
I would love to leave the country. Just as they are saying, when they were coming, they came with money, which is making their life comfortable. But we in the country, people are struggling on the street. If such person get opportunity, in fact, the person will leave the country.
Prof, what do you make of it when you hear that the local population here already has an assumption that you're wealthier, that there's an income disparity inbuilt?
So about 3 weeks ago, I gave a presentation on how you can earn $250,000 and 10x your income by living in Ghana. And a case study is I had translators coming from the University of Ghana at a conference that I just had. And we hired them to teach P. They had 2 students. From the 2 students who were paying them, they were able to get enough money to pay their entire master's degree for 1 year. Generally, people think, oh, what can I do with this language? But I'm saying that you don't have to go outside, and that was a message that they learned. There's someone in the world who wants any skill that you know how to do, and they're willing to pay you richly to do it.
Let me ask Jeff what he thinks here, because he is swallowing hard. I don't know if you think this is great advice or if you see it as somewhat condescending. What are your views?
Yes, I think what Prof is saying is quite true. Now, I heard my sister from behind me say that these people have money coming in. Yes, they may think that what they have is not enough for them as they come in here. But from the ordinary person on the streets of Accra, let's say Oxford Street, you see, if I want to walk on Oxford Street and buy what Prof is wearing, I can walk there and buy it. But can you imagine getting to Oxford Street and there's a vendor selling this thing, Prof standing there? The moment the person realizes Prof is coming from outside, his donation, the person prices this thing very high. So it brings a certain gap. But at the end of the day, once the prices go up, it doesn't come down. And we are the ones who suffer eventually.
Oh,
and that is a
wow.
problem we are facing here today. Their presence is actually creating a problem for us economically.
But I want to come back to you, Mr. Kwesi, because obviously these emotional sentiments have the potential to become something else. Xenophobia, Afrophobia.
What that sounds like, imagine, because here's a good comparison, right? Barbers back in the day used to charge haircuts $15, $20. Maybe 10, you know what I'm saying? 5 for kids. It would be real lovely. But then again, we started to have these new investments into the barbershops where people have these new tools that they will use will make their service a lot more profitable. And once that price went up, everybody else did it.
Right.
And I think that's the comparison that we're looking at right here. It's like once you see someone else come in your shop and that person is of high value, and he pays you more money, now you're telling yourself, I can do it. I can make more money. Why not up the price? And then everyone else is going to start going the waves to see that they can make more money as well, because the new person on the block is charging an arm and a leg to make sure that they're eating. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right, and we kind of ran into something like that where they wanted to pay us a higher price than the locals. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't. But I do see how it is bad for the people who are from there.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. It makes the marketing a lot more, I guess, challenging to serve the people.
Right.
You know.
Right. The people who this is their home.
Yeah.
You have an option to go back.
Yeah.
You know. I wonder how does that play into how Ghanaians interact with the Americans who are coming.
It all depends on the conversation they have behind closed doors.
Because he said they're making it hard for them.
Yeah, that's the conversation. Yeah.
Letting people come in, or are you putting in place strategies so that integration is sustainable and seamless?
In terms of the expectations from both sides, when we started a year of return and we started our first December in GH, the prices of goods in December more than quadrupled, because people thought, hey, this is a year of return, we have an opportunity, let's milk it. It happens everywhere. When you go to the Olympic Games, prices of everything goes up. Yeah. But then we had to meet with people at the art center, with the tour operators, with hotels, to explain to them that we are in this for the long term, that this is not just an open window for you to cash in. So it's something that we are building, but it's not going to take a day. The cultures are different, you know, so let's try and work ourselves to integrate. So when I talk about cultural integration, it's also looking at how do we make sure that people understand what we are doing and they are not taking advantage of our brothers and sisters who are coming back.
Yeah, Jennifer, because you're the latest arrival, if I could call you that, do you feel that because of your accent, sometimes people want to take advantage of you?
I would say that sometimes that is true, but it's not just true for African Americans. I think it's true for anyone that has an American or UK accent, even if they're Ghanaian. When we're talking about Ghana, Ghana is a country that has a population of over 30 million people. There are maybe 10,000 African Americans. We're an extreme minority. So I think that sometimes we're used as a scapegoat, and that is misplaced.
Do you feel this, because I know that you run your own business and setting it up, was it easy for you?
If you are Ghanaian, you can set up the business for like 1,000 to 2,000 cedis. But if you are coming from outside, they're telling him, bring in $500,000. Now we'll set up. You can set up a business as the sole, owner. That is not, very easy, for anyone. If we're not having a very deep analysis of what's going on, they play black people against other black people. So just to the point, we need to understand that we're all black people and we have very common genotype, common phenotype, and a common thrust for survival that we need to have, as opposed to divide and conquer. Let's play those Asantes against the Fantes, Bloods versus Crips. They do it every single place.
Okay, but what I'm hearing is that black we may be, but our bank accounts surely are not the same. Let me find out from Jeff how he feels hearing all these sentiments, because these are now your countrymen and women. Are you aligned with their values?
We are happy they are here. And would wish that we can coexist with them without having any problem whatsoever. If we see our brothers and sisters, irrespective of even the color, even if it's a white person coming to buy something, let the pricing be as it is.
I agree
You understand?
with that.
And maybe governments and the state agencies need to establish some kind of price control regimes so that everywhere you go, the prices will be the same, so that it doesn't come to the point where I see you pay the way you speak or pay your color, then I price the thing to suit myself, just because I want to make some extra profit. That is stealing, and it's very bad.
So obviously one way to do this is what Mr. Kwesi here suggested, cultural integration. And I just want to hear from the people at the back, how many people have made friends with returnees, people from the diaspora? Are you integrating with them in your communities? Let me hear from some people, yes or no? Yeah.
Where I used to work, which is a beauty salon, a lot of the diasporans do come. What I try to do is I tell them, okay, if you want to buy this, when you get to the market and then they give you a higher price, maybe the thing is priced 100 cedis, slash it to like 50 cedis. So I try to give them tips.
Okay. All right. Could you?
Yeah, us Ghanaians get the exposure when we integrate with the diaspora. It opens our eyes. It generally gives us access to so many things, to see that our skill sets can play on the global scale, and then we can. Let me tell you the truth. The Ghanaian dream is that we can earn first world money while we're still here. That's the Ghanaian dream. So once the diasporans integrate with us and we're exposed to that, we don't want to go anywhere, because we don't want to go and pay all the 40% taxes and all of that.
Okay, you wanted to say something to me earlier.
I just wanted to touch on the pricing of things. You know, being new here, we're here for just over a year now. We try to shop in our neighborhood, and because we are new and because we don't speak the language that well yet, we're learning, but the prices get hiked up. And so then we are forced to go somewhere else to spend our money. And we would prefer to spend it in our neighborhood, but they're hiking the price up because we're new, they don't know us yet. But it makes it harder for us when that happens to us. Yeah. It's unfair.
Okay,
but can I say something? You know, you got to really understand culture to understand people. You know, when you come to Ghana...
But people is culture.
Yes, but when you come to Ghana, chopping is part of the culture. You just have to... No, not just chopping, like whether they chop their family, they chop their friends, it's just a way, whether the government is chopping the resources,
what you say?
Part of the culture. So if we want to see change, then we also got to influence culture. We got to go in there and then make something like chopping repulsive, like saying it's stealing. You understand? Now, if I say a government official that chopped resources that should have went here, and he took it and reappropriated for something else, then he stole the money. See, now, if we say that instead of say he chopped the money, then at that point, he don't want to be a thief. So then he changed his behavior and his action. So it's important for us to start to look at culture and then influence culture in a way where we can bridge the difference and then we can progress as one.
And one of the best and fastest ways to influence culture is through marriage. Our bride to be here. Talk to me about how you arrive in Ghana, hoping to be here for 2 weeks, and then you're about to get married.
Actually, I felt a spiritual calling to come to Ghana. I was in Tanzania at the time. And I had a friend who was here, and I was like, I'm coming to do a poetry and photography book, and I need a partner. Can you connect me with a reliable man who can assist me? And that reliable man became my soon-to-be husband.
Reliable.
We have a daughter together. I gave birth here in Ghana, and that's also a thing. Like, when I gave birth here, people were like, why didn't you go back to the U.S. to give birth? And I'm like, this is an ancestral moment for me and my lineage. I'm the first in my family to come back. Yeah. The first in my whole lineage. Even when I went back home, they were asking me questions about Africa. None of them have ever come. Have you?
I want to say this. Diaspora wars are only online.
I feel like, yeah.
Only. how we grew up, especially in Louisiana, how we grew up, we always revered Africa. We wore dashikis. We incorporated African dancing and face painting and arts into our Black History Month programs. We did all of that. So when we started seeing diaspora wars online, we like, what?
Who started that fire?
Yeah, and even calling ourselves African American or Black American, we grew up calling ourselves African American. We know it changed.
Yeah,
it
the name changed so many times.
Yeah, so many.
I feel like it
Negro to color to
all the way back to what we were.
We know that, but it was never looked down upon to call ourselves African American. That's why we don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, you're right. And for the money situation, I think what he was trying to say, like when you change the names of what's being used from chopping to stealing, then a person can identify that, okay, maybe what we're doing isn't correct. And I feel like the business hurt more than the people because they're stopping their revenue because you're upping the price so quickly because you feel like the gentleman said you can milk an opportunity and you don't get a chance to really milk it because, again, like you said, we experienced it here. And yeah, she was negotiable with everything, but we was like we was appalled because like ain't no way possible you can take us serious. That you think we're gonna spend this amount for what you're trying to sell, respectfully. And at the end of the day, when you have an understanding, you can bridge the lingo correctly and have people that have a better understanding that you don't have to do this to the people. Like you're going to always have a set price that you can still eat from if that's the price that you're actually benefiting from, instead of just trying to raise the roof and next thing you know, now you got people turning heads because they don't want to shop from nobody in that section. They're going to think everybody going to do it to them.
Right. And not every African American who returned to the continent of Africa are millionaires.
Oh no, the money, I hear them with the money situation, but it don't, even to us, what looks like a lot to a lot of people, and I'm not talking about us specifically, but what looks like to a lot of people may not be a lot to that person coming in.
Right.
That money may have to be the only thing they have to stretch until they can find a safe place where they can make more money again. But, yeah.
Oh, I wanted to just say this, that it's literally before the internet stuff started, okay? Everybody wants to come to Africa. We're also, go back to Africa then. And we like, okay, you know, now that I found out that it's not as bad as y'all say it is, I really want to go.
Decided to live, and now I have my brother and my sister are coming. I got my auntie and cousin coming. Now their minds are also opening up as well. When you think about going to the U.S., you don't realize if you go there, you give birth, who is helping you? Everybody is working. You won't get your auntie to come and help you with the baby. So these are parts of the culture that they have here that are so beautiful, and I think we should continue to uphold. And I'm happy to definitely to be marrying my Ghanaian husband in January.
Congratulations. And you have obviously gone up the ranks and you're now a proper chief, you said. So how did that come about? I mean, you're completely immersed in the culture now.
So I would say the language is key. When I first came in 2008 to repatriate for good, I first came in 98, to Ghana. But when I came to repatriate, I was going to look at houses. And the agent, I was speaking Chi to the agent because I had already learned Chi. I'm teaching Chi at the university now. But the guy who was the caretaker, he didn't know that I spoke Chi, so he just decided, he sees me and he decides he's going to speak English. So I heard him turn to the agent and say, saying that the real price is...
First of all, how is his accent? Is it good? Yeah?
I'm saying it just like how the agent said it. They know this voice. That's the scheming voice.
Can you translate for us, please?
He said that the price is this, but the price is this, we're going to tell him the price is this, and then me and you were going to chop the money half. So I heard everything that the guy said, but I go through the whole house, and as I'm leaving, I said, okay, it's very nice. As I'm leaving, I said, you throw it there. And the agent said, so he said, I didn't tell you he doesn't speak Chi. But, for there, it really went into how once I know the language, it has a very major impact, even in terms of how much they can chop me. Because sometimes I'll just talk, normal. Like I'm just speaking with my regular accent in English. But then I'll switch to impeccable Chi, where I'm saying the numbers in Chi. Because a lot of Ghanaians, they don't, once they go to numbers, no. But I start doing it, and then they're like, wow.
Okay, so we now know that Professor is also a comedian. It's good to know. Let me hear some thoughts before we come to some closing remarks, please.
I think basically what we two are battling with is the narratives.
The narratives that are painted to them about us, and the narratives that are painted about them to us.
Yeah.
So they are painted to us as rich people. They live the luxury, they are bougie and all that. And then we are painted to them as peaceful people. Life is not all that expensive. So they come here expecting the expense not to be as high as it is at where they are, but they come here and there's another thing.
Okay.
And we are wanting to go to where they are because we feel we are going to be comfortable, very comfortable.
Oh,
also
you're
going to
gonna
live
work
in the luxury,
hard.
and we go there and sorry, it's
work
not.
hard.
Don't want to
So
turn
I
around.
think
2 jobs.
if we should work on the narratives of how we paint each other is going to help. So when they make us understand that apart from the luxury that we see, there is the emotional pain. They don't paint to us, but it is what it is. Then we also tell them, okay, when you come to our side, these and this is what you are going to face because of where you are also coming from.
So talking about the language, I read Bible in church the last time and I decided to read in Chi and everybody was clapping. I didn't know why Chi should be something I read and you are clapping. You are happy that I read Chi for the first time because Chi is my language.
So language, coming back to language, I need to close this because we're running out of time. But what do you think it's going to take from everybody here to stop saying them, the diasporans, the Ghanaians, into we, the Ghanaians?
Thinking about Marcus Messiah Garvey and being a Pan-Africanist and seeing all of us as an us, as a we, and stop separating it. To think that us coming from the diaspora did not have to survive it's a little disheartening to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because we are killed in the streets daily, you know, for nothing. Simple traffic stops. And so I think we just all have to decide that we are all the same.
Okay.
I feel like comparison, they say, is the thief of joy. They're talking about the USD that apparently have, I'm not coming with a 401k or a pension or a successful business or a retirement. Thank you. I'm not coming with a successful business. I'm a monk. I don't know business very well. I actually have neighbors who are finally helping me get my stuff together. But we've been insulted by Ghanaians and diasporans alike because we don't have money. We didn't come here to make money stretch. We came to contribute.
Yeah.
So the amount of money that you guys think we have, at least us two,
we
do not have. And if you look like me and you have the accent you have, they aren't going to help you. They aren't going to give you any money. It is best to stay here, do what Professor said, and make something of your own. Because the talent here.
Oh, the talent. Okay. But what about people who go out and make it and make things of themselves?
That's a very small percentage. And of course they're going to show you that on television. That's a very small percentage. And of course that's what they're going to show you.
All right.
But like she said, you go there, it is not as cushy as you think. Great, you get a fancy job before you get the police gun you down before you even make the money. That is a reality.
Or the job doesn't make ends meet. So you're having to do all these crazy other things just to make the ends meet.
All right.
That's why there's Uber and Instacart, because people work 9 to 5 jobs and they get off and now they have to go deliver pizza.
So because of the interest of time, I just want to close with Prof because we started with you. Answer the question for me. How do we go from them, the diasporans, the Ghanaians, to we?
I think conversations like these are very much necessary because just as was mentioned by my sister here, they get a narrative about those in the diaspora. And even Ghanaians, when they go travel to places like the U.S., they're told, don't hang out with the black people because they're all drug dealers, because they're all gangbangers, because they're all this, that. And, you know, they'll say, oh, Africans are all poor. You'll see the images of the Ethiopians with flowers on their face. So if you want to fight, call someone an African, and that's considered to be an insult. What it means is that we're really not having conversations and dialogues. Who in whose interest, who benefits from you thinking this about diasporans, and who benefits from diasporans thinking this about you. And once we understand who benefits, is basically follow the money trail. The one who benefits from the problem is most likely the one who caused the problem in the first place.
Because who put me at the table to hate you?
For real.
Who put war after diaspora for me to go on the internet and then talk bad about my brother and my sister? Who put me at the table to hate you?
Right.
That is a real question.
Why am I hating you?
Exactly.
Like, there's a debate going on right now. I don't want to talk about the debate, but there's a debate going on right now, and my husband and I are listening to both sides, and it's just a misunderstanding because you don't know each other.
But the full circle moment can be a teaching moment because you have an opportunity to talk. But why would you actually take the opportunity to fuss with a person that you just now met? Right. You just met this person and you're using words that can be hurtful because you want to take advantage of the diaspora war lingo. I was never invited to that type of table. Yeah. Nah.
Just for clicks and views. That's all it is.
That's wild to me.
That's all it is.
About you. And once we understand who benefits, is basically follow the money trail. The one who benefits from the problem is most likely the one who caused the problem in the first place. So there's a quote, and I think this is very poignant to perhaps close on, by Nana Runoko Rashidi and also Nana Quad David Whitaker. He says, what we do for ourselves depends on what we think of ourselves. What we think of ourselves depends on what we know of ourselves. And what we know of ourselves depends on what we have been told, as to say, about ourselves. And we haven't been told very much about ourselves. Ghanaians haven't been told very much about our own history as Ghanaians. Correct. Diasporans also haven't been told. But again, look at not who suffers from the problem, look at who benefits from the problem, and you'll see the one who created the problem, and we're the ones who can solve that problem.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
We can solve it.
That was clear as day.
There are a lot of things that this debate was not.
Yeah, we're going to stop it right there, man. Make sure you guys check out her channel. We do a lot of videos from her channel. She has...
I don't think it's her channel.
Well, it's not her channel, but it's her as she's hosting it. And she does a great job. So make sure you guys go check it out.
I think this is one of my favorite Ghana videos. It really, really was. It really was, because Ghana is one of those places where the slave castle, is it castle? The dungeon? That's what it is. The dungeon is still there. Those places are still there for us to feel the spirits of our ancestors. And one of the things that I tell people is we didn't just come out of thin air, right? We came from a people. So it's not really us versus them. We have a connection.
Yeah, it's a long line. Yeah. It's a long line. It may not be close enough for you to realize, but it's a long line.
Right. And just how we commemorate slavery and Juneteenth and all of these things that we have progressed as a people, African Americans in the U.S., Ghanaians, they have, I forgot what it's called, but they have a festival of where they have a remembrance of what our people have went through before they crossed the water. Yeah. So we're the same people, and it's not just Ghana; it's other places too.
It's other places too. It's a good conversation to really have.
It really is. I feel like we haven't had a conversation like this in a while on the show.
And I don't think it's that deep to where it's argumentative to say this would happen or this how it would have happened or whatever it is the case may be. Whoever thinking whatever you're thinking, but I think it's very simple, and is that there's a long line of connection, and it slowly mends together as you slowly understand certain parts of history as you're growing to learn.
Right, you know? And people, just understanding people, learning from people. That's it. All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.